The Eyes of My Mother is a hauntingly quiet descent into loneliness and madness, following a young woman whose childhood trauma warps her sense of love, death, and family. Raised in isolation and steeped in surgical knowledge, Francisca develops a chilling intimacy with violence, turning her royal farmhouse into a sanctuary of horror. Stark and unsettling, the film explores what happens when grief festers without connection or consequence. Hi, I'm Natasha.
And I'm Sandra.
And this is Strange Sisters. You just heard the quick summary of The Eyes of My Mother, which is the movie that we're covering this week for Strange Cinema. I just want to say that I apologize for saying this was an Italian movie. It is not. When I started watching, I'm like, this doesn't sound like Italian. It's actually partially in Portuguese and partially in English. So if you're like watching this and you're like, that is not Italian, that is why it is not actually an Italian movie.
That was my first question. I think there was like one Italian line, but I was like, first of all, this is all in English. And you said I'd have to watch it with subtitles. I was like, this is English. Or I'm very good at Italian. I didn't realize it.
No. Yeah, most of it is in English, but there are some subtitles for when she speaks in Portuguese.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I think I saw it when it first came out, which was in like 2016, so I think I just misremembered it, honestly. So, yeah, so this is a psychological horror film, an indie kind of horror film, directed by Nicholas Pesce? I'm not really sure.
I think the director might have been Italian because I feel like I looked it up.
Okay, yeah, because I thought when I watched it, it was under the Italian section on Shudder. So maybe that's why. Maybe the director or writer is Italian. I'm not really sure. But yeah, the language they're speaking is Portuguese when it's not English.
On, I believe, Tubi, and I watched it on, oh, what was it called? It started with an S. Or no, Plex. It's Plex, which is also
Oh,
familiar too.
yeah, Plex is pretty cool. They have a lot of good movies on there. And yeah, the film is structured in three parts. And as I mentioned, this part is right. It was in black and white, which I think really adds to the unsettling, kind of disturbing effect of the movie.
I feel like I kept waiting for, like, I knew it was all in black and white, but I kept waiting for there to be color.
Yeah, I don't think it needed it to get the point across. So yeah, I like this movie quite a bit more than the first movie that we covered. So
That I will give you.
yeah, it's a much more like cool art house, indie, unique movie. Like I was trying to think of other movies that are like this, and I really couldn't think of any that were very similar. Hopefully, if you watched it already, you enjoyed it as well.
Natasha's seen it already, but I haven't yet until watching it now.
Yeah, so we're just gonna kind of go part by part, and we'll do like a little breakdown of the scenes, but we won't get too detailed just in case you do end up watching it. So the first part is called Mother. So this is you would think this is the most disturbing part of the movie. I would say it is not, but it just, yeah, it kicks off with a bang. So, a young girl named Francisca lives with her Portuguese parents. Well, I think at least her mom is Portuguese. I don't know if her dad is.
Her mom is definitely Portuguese.
Yeah, maybe the mom was Portuguese. She moved to America, met this guy, who knows. And they live on a remote rural farm, and they have like farm animals and stuff that they take care of. And her mother, who was a surgeon in Portugal, teaches her about anatomy using cows' heads because they have a farm, so they have cows, and explains the importance of the eyes and pulls out this part of the eye. I don't know what it's called, but she says, like, this is how we see everything. So it's a really, like, kind of creepy that you would be teaching a
Yeah.
girl, like, maybe 8 or 9, about how to surgically remove an eye, but it's also really interesting.
Not just that, but they just like had the cow's head on a kitchen table.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's what honestly disturbed me the most.
and the dad just like walks in and looks at it and then just walks back out. He's like, okay.
It's kind of how, like, when Lance comes home and all of a sudden there's another porcelain doll. He
Oh my
just
god.
walks into another room.
Yeah, no. I'd rather have a cow's head than a porcelain doll, a haunted porcelain doll. So then Francisca's outside playing in her yard, and this random guy whose name is Charlie arrives, and he's like pretending that he needs help, or I don't know if he's like a salesman kind of thing. And he asks if he can wait for the father to come home, then he has to use the bathroom, and he just kind of charms his way into the house. But right away, Francisca's mom is like cautious, like, I don't know, this guy seems off.
I think you're misremembering. I'm only saying this because I literally just watched it like before we recorded.
Mm.
he says that he's not a salesman. He doesn't say what he's doing there, but he kept asking, "Is your husband coming home soon? Is he usually gone this long?" Like he was trying to
Yeah.
test out where the father was, not like
Yeah.
trying to. He specifically says, "I'm not trying to sell you something."
He looked like a salesman, so that's why I was like, maybe he
Yeah.
was just, like, in the area, and he was like, "Man, I really need to go to the bathroom." Like, I was just trying to, like, put some context to why this guy would be there, because to me, he looked like either a salesman or, like, a missionary kind of
I
person.
believe later in those scenes, Francesca asked, "Why did you pick us? We weren't the first," and he just said, "Well, you were home."
Yeah, so kind of like the strangers. It's
That is the first thing I thought of.
like, "Oh, well, you let me inside."
So don't
Yeah,
let strangers in your house.
yeah, I think that's a good rule of thumb is just don't let people in your house.
Which I'm
Uh,
going to tell you a story later that completely contradicts what I just said.
oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it was because he reminded me of this guy that came to our house once when we were younger that was selling like kids encyclopedias. Do you remember those books we had?
You just unlocked a memory in me. Oh, was it encyclopedias or was it the kids' version of a bunch of like great books? Like there was a Tom Sawyer.
No, it was like an encyclopedia for kids, so it had like pictures of all these different things. I remember she's like, "Here, do you want some lemonade?" And they're like going through all the books, and then she ended up buying the books from us. And he kind of looked like that guy, so maybe that's why I just automatically put like, "Oh, he's some type of sales kind of
Oh
person."
my gosh. How did we live to be this age?
Yeah, luckily he did not murder us. He was just a door-to-door salesman.
But
Um,
those were more common back in like the 80s and 90s.
yeah, yeah, they definitely were. Um, so
But
yeah, he
anyway, she lets him in to go to the bathroom.
yeah, and he's like, "Oh, can you show me where the bathroom is?" And she's like, "It's right there." Like, just telling and he's like, "No, I want you to show me." And she's like, No." And then, because she had a bad vibe about him, and then right away he pulls out, like, I think it was a gun, right?
Yeah, he pulls out a gun
Mhm.
and tells the little girl to young Francesca. Francesca, right? I'm saying that right.
I think so.
Okay. I think he calls her Franny.
Yeah, I think it's Francisca, maybe?
Maybe. I'm going to call her Frandy so I don't say it wrong. But he tells her to sit down as he pulls the gun on her mom.
Yeah, so I don't know if he was planning to kill her next, and it just didn't work out that way. I don't know. It's very scary. But Francisca's father does come home and he walks into the bathroom because he hears like a sound and he finds the guy bludgeoning her mom to death, I think in the bathtub with the butt of the gun. Very like violent death. And obviously he's fucking pissed. And he
As
starts like, yeah, I mean, obviously, you're like killing his wife while his daughter's right there. So he hurts him but doesn't kill him right away, which I don't know if he was just trying to like make it so he couldn't leave until he could take care of the situation and then kill him. I don't know exactly what the plan was there.
So, as we've said in the past, this is where shit gets weird.
Yeah, it's a pretty weird movie.
Yeah, so he puts him in the barn. He chains him up in the barn.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm assuming he was gonna kill him and then maybe like drain him of blood and get rid of him how he would like a farm animal. I'm not really sure about that.
So, one of my notes is like, call the police.
Yeah.
Like, I get you're mad. I would be mad. I know
Hmm.
my husband, if he was in that situation, would be mad. But now is a good time to, notify somebody.
Yeah, let the police take care of it. But yeah, I mean, I think when you live in very rural places, you kind of don't rely on government services as much.
And that's fair.
So you change them, but they have all these like chains just ready to go. I assume because that's how they drain
Just
animals
huge.
or something.
Well, they're on the floor though. If you're going to drain an animal, they need to be elevated and like chains are on the floor.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they like adjusted them or if that's just how they are. Because I'm like, I don't think you would usually just chain an animal up. I don't know. But
Yeah,
we've
I
never
mean,
lived on.
From what I know, and it's very little about like hunting and stuff, they need to be elevated, drained of blood, like upside down.
Yeah.
And these were just like, it looked, I don't know where the dad would have time to like change where the chains are in all of this.
I mean, it seemed like he injured the guy pretty good, so
But
maybe he was out for a few hours and he moved some things around. I don't know. Instead of being like afraid or repulsed by this guy, Francisca visits Charlie regularly. So they end up just keeping him in there because she wants a friend, basically. So she convinces the dad, like, no, let me take care of him. Let me keep him alive because she's lonely. You know, she lives in this rural place. She doesn't really have friends. But she performs a very crude surgical procedure on him to remove his eyes and his vocal cords. So he basically just becomes fully dependent on her because he literally can't see or scream, which is just like pretty terrifying for especially because a young girl did it to like an adult man, you know?
and that part did remind me of Strangeland, actually, when he sewed their mouth shut and all that. I,
Mm.
I looked at Lance, I was like, is Natasha trying to tell me something?
No, I feel like it has a totally different like tone and vibe.
Yeah, oh, definitely. It was just the vocal cord thing, which
Yeah.
since I was a child, I've always talked very loudly and a lot. So,
Yeah, it's pretty scary. So you start to hear him make these weird noises, and at first I was like, "Why is he making those noises?" And then I realized, oh, she removed his vocal cords, so he can't actually speak, which is just really interesting. I don't know how this guy came up with this, but it's pretty dark.
one scene, he was yelling, Franny, Franny, from the barn.
Yeah,
And she goes out there, does the surgery, comes back down, sits next to her father, and says, he won't be making noise anymore.
right. Yeah, so that's how I guess she's able to convince him to let her keep him as kind of like a pet, basically.
And I honestly didn't even think of that. And it's not till later in the movie we realize this man's still alive. But like her dad knew.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that he just thought she killed him.
No, yeah, I guess he probably felt bad for his daughter and didn't really know how to deal with all of this trauma and yeah.
Therapy.
Yeah, it's really dark. I don't know when this is supposed to take place exactly. Based on the cars, it looked like maybe the 50s or 60s.
Yeah, I looked it up. It was like based around the 50s or 60s.
Okay, yeah. So, not that long ago, but a different time, definitely.
Pre therapy.
Yeah. So, the next part is called Father, and this is kind of just a whole new level of trauma. So, now she's older, so it jumps forward in time. Francisca lives quietly with her father, and she is very emotionally stunted and very calm, performing like domestic tasks and continuing to care for her now blind and mutilated friend Charlie, as well as her father, who has gotten on in age and can't really do a lot of things by himself.
So, one thing I noticed, how old do you think she was in this part? Like
Maybe like mid
20s?
20s. Yeah.
It's kind of weird she was still co sleeping with her dad at that age.
Yeah.
And it brought the question to me if he, I mean, she was doing all the tasks at home, if it was supposed to represent that maybe he was doing some other stuff to, like, make her the wife of the house.
Well, I didn't really get that vibe. It seemed like he cared about his daughter, and maybe he just felt so bad that he wasn't there to protect them that now he just kind of
And that makes
flared.
sense.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't here. I'm going to keep you right next to me for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I'm sure they both were very traumatized by what happened. So then, unfortunately, Francisca's father dies pretty suddenly. Well, not, I mean, he's old as hell, so it's not super suddenly, but to her, it feels sudden. And she's unable to cope because now she's lost both of her parents, and she kind of preserves his corpse and, like, keeps him in the house, still trying to maintain this illusion of, like, family life. She's, like, bathing his dead body and things like that. So it's really
Very,
pretty gross.
very Norman Bates.
Yeah. Yeah, she's, like, in the tub with his dead body, and I'm like, "Oh my god, the germs, the ugh."
I
No.
did like how they included, like when you die, you tend to bloat and stuff.
Mhm.
I like that it seemed like they included that in the bathing scene because you can see his stomach kind of protrude.
Yeah, yeah, I noticed that too. You can tell that he's, like, starting to decay,
Yes.
basically. So, at that point, yeah, she's, like, very lonely, and so she picks up a woman named Kamiko in a bar. So I guess there's a bar, like, somewhat close to them. She hops in the car, drives to a bar, and she picks up this woman and brings her back to her house. So Kamiko just kind of innocently starts asking about the house, like, "Oh, is this your parents' house? What happened to them?" And Francisca says that her mom was killed, and then she kind of jokingly says that she killed her dad, which I'm like, that's so weird because like you didn't kill your dad. You could have just said he died from natural causes. I don't think she actually killed him as far as I could tell. So I thought that was kind of
No. I have a couple notes on all of that. Who taught her how to drive? So like she's so lonely, she's so like socially and emotionally stunted. But her
Mhm.
dad had a job in town somewhere, assumingly. Like where are
Right.
they getting all these groceries that they couldn't get on the farm and stuff from?
Mhm.
You couldn't bring her into town. How did she know how to get into town? How did she know how to drive the car?
Yeah, I always assumed that they were just maybe kind of like loners, and didn't
Yeah.
really she probably didn't know how to interact with other kids because she was an only child and
It seemed just weird because it's like, okay,
Mhm.
once your mother dies, you would think that like the father would bring her around other people and try to socialize her.
Yeah, I don't know if they maybe didn't want people to start asking questions about like where her mom was because what if someone stops by the house and then they go into the barn because they hear a weird noise and
That's actually very fair. And if the mother died, minus no, the guy chained up.
yeah. So, I don't know, maybe they were just trying to yeah, kind of keep to themselves and keep their secret as long as possible. But yeah, she's like, I have no one around except for this guy who can't see me or speak to me. Kamiko is obviously freaked out when she says that and kind of tries to like backtrack and be like, oh, I'm just kidding. That was a bad joke. I'm sorry. And then Kamiko's like, yeah, I'm gonna go. And she's like, no, no, please stay. I'll drive you home. Like, please stay. And then when she does try to leave, Francisca ends up killing her and then chops her up and puts some of her body parts in the fridge for some reason. So I don't know if she's turned into a cannibal at this point. I'm not really clear on that.
Yeah, I think it was she just never wants her friends and family members to leave her.
Mm, yeah. I don't know if she was, it looked like it was organs. So I don't know if she was like eating the organs or like feeding them to the animals or something.
Cannibalism freaks me. Not much freaks me out.
She's such a like petite woman, so it's not like the typical killer that you would expect.
Yeah, she's very unassuming.
Mhm. Yeah. So then she's like all fucked up because she's like, "Damn, killed this girl." Like
Yeah.
that's gone. So then she turns to Charlie in the barn and she ends up bringing him inside and bathing him, which I don't didn't seem like she usually did that. And then she brings him to her bed, I guess to like sleep with him. It seemed like that was the that was the
Yeah.
goal there, and it seemed like it happened, but in the middle of the night, Charlie attempts to escape because, like, for the first time in probably 15 years, he's not chained up, in a barn, but Francisca wakes up and she realizes that he's not there, so it's pretty easy to find him outside because he hasn't gotten very far because he can't see anything.
Yeah.
So and he's not familiar with the property. So she looks out the window and sees him like trying to run into the woods that's next to their property and she just runs out and catches him.
I think she runs. I think she walks, which is like what's so sad for Char. I mean, he is the person that murdered her mother, so I'm not going to say sad, but
Yeah.
she just like strolls up behind him.
Right. Yeah, that's true. She just walks up behind him and he like you can tell he's kind of like senses her, but obviously he can't see her. And then she ends up stabbing him. And she does say that he's right in terms of the fact that killing someone feels amazing.
It's a weird choice to sleep with the person that killed your mother.
Yeah, I think she was just so desperate for that kind of connection.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get the reasoning behind it. I just was like, I mean, kidnap somebody else, maybe? Like,
Yeah, the whole thing is just extremely messed up. I don't know if we can really rationalize it in any way.
Yeah.
So after she kills him, she's even more messed up because now she's like totally alone. She's completely by herself in at the farm. And so she goes out into the woods and she's like, "Mother, please send me a sign. Please help me. I'm so lonely." And she ends up falling asleep in the woods. And then she wakes up and she kind of stumbles down onto the road and she hitchhikes for a ride back to her house, which it doesn't seem like it would have been that far, so I'm not really sure why she did that. Maybe she just wanted some human contact.
Yeah.
And she's picked up by a woman named Lucy who has a baby, which I'm like, oh my God, why?
Oh
My
my God. I thought the same thing. I was like, why would you pick up a hitchhiker if you've got a baby in the car?
yeah, and it's like a just a single like front row truck, so the baby's literally right in between them. And so she's like, "Yeah, I just live right up here." So they take her home. And then Francisca's like, "Can I please hold your baby?" And then after some persuasion, Lucy's like, "Okay, sure." So as soon as she gets the baby in her arms, she dashes off into the house. And so obviously Lucy runs after them because she just stole her baby.
Yeah.
And so Francisca puts the baby down in the room and then hides and waits for Lucy to go in, and then she attacks her from behind and stabs her. So Lucy's like desperately trying to get to her baby and she's like bleeding out, but she doesn't die.
Why are you letting strangers hold your baby?
Yeah, that's another one.
Like, I get that that's actually a common thing. Like, people always want to touch your stomach when you're pregnant or like hold your
Yeah,
baby.
super weird. Don't touch me. There's no reason for you to hold a baby that you don't
Yeah.
know. Just
Like, and she insists on it too.
mhm.
Like, it's not like, oh, can I hold him? It's like, I want to hold him.
Yeah, and she does seem really unassuming, so that's why she lets her after some persuasion. So, unfortunately, Francisca brings Lucy out to the barn where Charlie was once chained up and performs the same crude procedures on her. I wasn't sure if at first maybe she had wanted to keep her so that the baby would have milk supply. I don't think they really did a lot of formula back in the 50s.
Well, and that was my question. Why did she keep her alive? Like, she had the baby, she had the quote unquote friend that she was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, I assumed it was for, like, her milk, and then maybe she just never ended up killing her. It's very strange.
Another thing I never really understood was I get that her mom was an eye surgeon,
Mhm.
and that's probably why she took the eyes, but what actually does that do for you? Like, I get cutting the vocal cords, I can't scream, but
Mhm.
not them not being able to see other than the connection to your mother. Why are you doing that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's so that they can't see anything and they can't figure out how to escape,
Um,
or it has something to do with what her mom said about, like, the eyes are how you perceive everything. I don't know.
movie's like named after it.
Yeah. Yeah. But she doesn't hurt the baby. She keeps the baby and raises the child, and she ends up naming him Antonio. So then we time jump again. Antonio is a young boy, probably like 8 or 9, probably around the same age as she was when her mother was killed, seemed like.
Maybe a little bit younger, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're still living on the farm, of course, because she can't explain where she got this baby from all of a sudden. But he's also completely unaware of her crimes and like what's even hidden in the barn. He's never been in the barn. His mom doesn't let him go in the barn. But he's getting older and he sees her going in the barn. So of course he's like, what's in there? So he begins questioning the world outside of the farm, and that obviously makes her uneasy. And she realizes that he may leave her once he gets older, becomes an adult. He might leave her and go off into the world. So she's kind of freaking out. And one night, Antonio wakes up. He's sleeping in the same bed with her, so she's kept that tradition going.
I don't understand co-sleeping.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy, especially because it's like a pretty big house. So there was clearly another room that he could sleep in, but
But also, what you said earlier reminded me of another question that I had. Where is she getting money from?
yeah, I assume she sells stuff, like, maybe she sells, like, milk from her cows and, like,
Yeah.
stuff from her farm.
Like, I understand, obviously, this is all a movie and there's not going to be explanations for everything. But that was one thing I was thinking, like, how is she affording to, like, keep a baby?
Yeah, I just assumed they made money from their farm and maybe her dad had some kind of pension that, I mean, obviously he was never reported to authorities that he died, so maybe she kept getting that
Right.
as well. Um,
But like you said, they kept the tradition of co sleeping alive.
yeah, and so one night Antonio wakes up and he turns over to see if his mom's awake and she's not. So he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna go out to the barn. I'm gonna go explore the barn." So he walks up the stairs because it's like a two level, and he sees Lucy, and obviously he doesn't know that's his birth
Yeah.
mom because he can't remember her. And he's terrified by her too because she's making these weird noises because she can't speak and her eyes are bandaged up. It seemed like she had a real, like, strong reaction to him, but obviously couldn't speak to him. He goes back inside and he tries to convince himself that it's just a nightmare.
I
And
would too.
yeah. He's like, what the hell? So Lucy manages to escape the barn. She's still shackled, but she manages to get out. And she runs into the forest and eventually finds the road. So, which she couldn't even tell by sight. I assume she just felt that it was pavement. And
Or
a
heard
truck,
a car coming.
yeah. So this is the scene that starts the movie, and then we kind
Mhm.
of flash back and then we get back to where it started. So a trucker finds her and she gets rescued, which is pretty lucky. And then Francisca's out in the woods, and I think this is the point where she dug up her mom's bones to be like, "Mom, what do we do next?"
Yeah, so there was another note I had. How often does she do that?
Yeah, she
Like,
knew, like, exactly where it was.
yeah, it feels like this wasn't the first time that she's done this.
Yeah, probably not. So that was pretty creepy. She just was, like, holding her mom's skull, like, "What do I do?" And so she's got, like, a higher vantage point on the road, and she sees a bunch of cars driving towards her house, which is obviously super unusual for her remote, farmhouse. So she realizes, like, "Oh, shit." Like,
It's
that's the
over.
yeah. So the police arrive, and Antonio's sleeping in bed. So she grabs Antonio. She's got this huge knife in her hand, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're gonna kill Antonio. But she puts it down and she's like, Antonio, wake up. Like, don't believe anything these people tell you. Come on, let's hide. So they go and hide in the closet, and she's got this huge knife with her. In the final seconds, you can hear a gunshot, assuming that Francisco was shot, probably because she was holding that huge knife. And that's the end.
Yeah. Oh, I did actually look something up. So I Googled, you can have surgery to partially restore some of your vocal functions after having your vocal cords removed.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, in theory, that woman sort of had a chance to at least speak sort of again.
Yeah, and I know you can have, like, eye transplants, like, you can have eyes from other people, so, again, this was in, like, the 50s or 60s, so I don't know
Yeah.
if they had that technique down quite yet, but, yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine, plus, like, just the trauma of what she faced.
How you get, I don't know, you come back from that. Ooh, I have
Yeah.
such a thing with eyes too. I don't know how you like know the things that are gonna. Ugh. That scene in what movie was it? I can picture it. The girl's eye is hanging out, and then she walks in front of the train.
Oh,
Hostel.
Hostel, yeah.
Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah, that movie is crazy. Yeah, that's a whole other different kind of, like, graphic torture.
So my thoughts on this movie was it's definitely better than Strangeland,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's such a slow burn for people like me who have the attention span of a gnat. It was kind of hard to like sit through, especially it being in black and white.
Mhm. Yeah,
I
it
think,
is definitely a slow burn, even though it's a pretty short movie. It's like an hour and 17 minutes or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
but definitely better than Strangeland. I get to pick the next movie.
Oh, I think you sent me a list of movies, so yeah, we're gonna watch one of those next.
So we will
Um,
all be having a much better time.
Probably won't be as spooky, and then yeah, and then by then we'll be getting more into spooky stuff because it's almost, I mean, for us, it's already spooky season,
Uh,
but
oh yeah, I
we're
already promised medium sized one we can start decorating sometime soon.
once, like, July 4th passes, I think it's spooky season pretty much, so
what are they calling it now? Summerween.
Summerween, yeah.
I usually wait until after your birthday at least.
Thanks.
But
Yeah.
it was definitely an interesting movie. I
Mhm.
saw what they were trying to do, but to me it wasn't scary, which I appreciate and thank you.
Yeah, it's not really that scary. It is kind of similar to like Norman Bates' Psycho kind of thing, where they're not really showing the violence that much. It's more like her emotion behind the violence that I think they kind of focus on. So yeah, it's a really interesting, unique movie.
Yeah. I would definitely call it more suspense than horror.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like I could
Very like 2010s indie movie.
it almost reminds me of I can't remember a specific one, but like a Criminal Minds episode. Like just very it's not technically horror, but it's still kind of icky.
Yeah, kind of borders that. So yeah, if you don't really like horror movies, you might like this movie because it is more of a suspense drama kind of thing.
And I could survive it. So like you guys will be good.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know what the next one will be. I know you recommended a couple of them.
So on that note, what have we learned today?
You know, go to therapy when you see something traumatic. Mutilating people and keeping them chained up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't let strangers in your car. Just, a lot of cautionary tales today.
Yes. And on that note,
Yeah. Stay strange.
stay strange. Bye guys.